Hi guys, welcome to another Camper Care video. I'm Chris, a certified RV technician, and today we're going to be removing and replacing a vacuum breaker valve on a Dometic 300 series toilet. The reason for this is because sometimes they can leak. It's pretty rare, but if you do find yourself with a leaking vacuum breaker, this is going to be how you remove it and how you put a new one back in its place. There's a little bit of nuance to this, so we want to show you a couple of specialized things. Let's get started. So the specific kinds of clamps which they use on these Dometic vacuum breakers, and a lot of the other plumbing as well on Dometic toilets, are one-time use clamps. So we cannot reuse this. Sometimes they come with fresh clamps and other times they do not. So I'm going to be replacing them with this style of clamp. It's a adjustable clamp, and it's something which we can remove and put back on in the future. So in order to get this off, I'm not going to remove the vacuum breaker right away. This is actually the tool which is used to install this style of clamp. It simply crushes down this area and makes the entire clamp seat around this piece. However, since we're not going to be replacing it with this, I'm not going to be using this tool because there's a better way to get these off of there. And what I like to do is use a flat blade screwdriver and work it behind this area. And in doing so, I can kind of add a little bit of, I can move it around to the area which I need it to be in. And I'm going to use a slightly smaller screwdriver to do this. Let me get to that. Because I can kind of work the blade of the screwdriver back and forth in order to get it behind the band of metal and slowly start popping it free from the from its attachment points. And there you can see I've gotten two of the little pieces free. So two of the teeth are now loose. And I can continue working this small screwdriver a little bit forward at a time until I'm able to pop this piece off. And there it is, broken free. So now I just simply bend the metal open, slide it down, and then open up the clamp itself so I can remove it from the hose. From there I can remove the water supply hose off of the vacuum breaker. There we go. And then I'm going to start working on the second clamp, which is back behind here. Area, now it is loose and free inside of there. So from there, in order to remove the vacuum breaker, I just need to undo this single Phillips head screw. Got my trusty 11-in-1 here. No need for a magnetic tip on this one because it is a stainless steel screw. Then I can slowly work the valve out from its housing position until it pops free. This is what the vacuum breaker looks like. In the top of it is where the actual valve is located at and allows for air to leave the system. We oftentimes get a lot of air inside of our hoses, and that happens when you are switching sources of water. So when you're going from a full hookups campground with a pressurized hose supplied to your RV, and then switching back over to the freshwater tank and using the pump inside of there. That's where you would get air in the lines, and that's why this part is necessary. Okay, so now we have the new vacuum breaker which we're going to install here. Since we are not going to be using these one-time use clamps which are damaged beyond repair, I am going to take one adjustable clamp, slide it over the area where I need it to be, which is going to be on this in-feed hose. Then I'm going to slowly work my vacuum breaker into the hose so it's nice and flush. And from there, what I can do is I can adjust where my clamp is at. I want it facing down so that I can get a tool on it in order to start tightening it up. Clamp placement is very important, but in this circumstance, you need to have access to the screw on there. You can also use a 1/4 inch nut driver in order to tighten this down. So I want it just about tight, and then I can check my position of the vacuum breaker valve so it's nice and aligned, and I can add that stainless steel screw back into it to hold it into place. So I'm going to thread that in, and this is before I fully tighten down that hose. The reason why is because I don't want this to twist as I'm tightening up the hose. Sometimes as you're working on something, it can actually move the vacuum breaker, and you need this to be perfectly vertical inside of there, which is why it has this stainless steel set screw. So I'm going to finish tightening this piece back up. I've got it so it is all the way around the hose and seated on there, and then I'm simply going to just now tighten it up. Again, we've talked before in the past about applying the right amount of force to something. You want this to be snug, but again, not overly tight. You can actually crush and break the plastic of the vacuum breaker. So now I've got it nice and snug inside of there. I'm gonna move it, the clamp and the hose, to make sure that it's not gonna go anywhere. We're all good there. I'm about to apply the feed hose from the water valve, and I'm going to use a new clamp, which I'm going to preload onto the hose and slide it down past where it's going to seat. And then I'm going to gently work my hose back into place. So now that I have the hose in there, I'm going to slide the clamp up and into position. I want to make sure that I've got the actual ratcheting side of this lined up so I can access it easily. I need to get it started by hand threading it on there so the teeth actually meet up on the clamp itself. I'm going to move it a little bit down from the collar because I don't need it that high up. And then I'm going to gently start tightening the clamp down and make sure that it's all the way seated around the vacuum breaker hose. And there we have it. We are tightened up and on there, and that is how you replace a vacuum breaker valve on a Dometic 300 series toilet. This is a pretty quick one, guys, but thank you so much for watching. If you like what you're seeing, please feel free to like and subscribe, and catch us on the next one. Thanks, guys.